Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Curtis, and today I'm going to review Zatima Season 3, Episode 9. So, the episode starts off where the last one left off, and that was, of course, with Zack jumping down the steps like a WWE wrestler. He claimed that he was trying to protect Fatima, but we all know that he jumped down because he wasn't expecting his brother to have a gun and start shooting at him. And speaking of his brother having a gun, they're trying to figure out, where did he get the gun? And then Belinda's like, oh, he must have found my gun. And so Angela tells him that somebody needs to call the police. And Belinda was like, I already called the police. So if you remember in the last episode, she reached out to Zack, left him a voice message, and then she called somebody else. She didn't say that person's name, so we weren't really sure like who it was. But I guess it turns out that it was a police officer. And so Nathan was like, well, you called the cops. I can't be here. Like, I may have outstanding warrants, right? And so Zack, he starts talking to himself because he's in disbelief. Like, I can't believe my brother actually shot at me. And I'm honestly surprised that he was surprised because I'm like, your brother is fucking crazy. Like, your brother's out here attacking people. He's out here stealing stuff. He's on drugs. Like, your brother is crazy. So I'm not really surprised why he thought that he wouldn't do something of this caliber. Zack is able to come back to himself and he asks Fatima, like, do you have your gun? And she's like, no. He's like, what the fuck? What do you mean you don't have your gun? She's like, I'm trying to do better. And everybody, they suck their teeth like, oh my God, Fatima, of all times now. And so then Zack, he decides to rush up the stairs and hopes to find a Jeremiah, but he's unsuccessful because Jeremiah jumped out of the window. Belinda rushes upstairs because she's like, oh my God, you probably stole my stuff. Zack comes downstairs and he asks everybody, knows everything okay? And Fatima's looking at him like, am I okay? Like, you rushed in here, you kicked down the door basically, you threw a table at me, you was breaking all the Belinda stuff, you rushed upstairs, your brother started shooting, we didn't even know where he got the gun from originally, and then you dove down the steps, dove on me. Mind you, I'm pregnant, so you could have caused some issues. No, I'm not okay. Zack is confused because he's like, I'm trying to defend you. Like, he put his hands on you. Not only did he put his hands on you, he knocked you unconscious. And then after that, he stole from you. And then he tried to sell what he stole from you to my homeboys. Like, why are you upset with me? She tells him, you know what, if this is the way that you want to live, then you have to do this on your own. I'm not going to be there. And then next thing you know, Belinda, she rushes down the stairs and she's like, oh my God, he stole my rent money. And you're like, well, where did you hide the rent money? And she was like, I put it in a bookcase. She's like, you know that these junkies and crackheads, they can sniff out money, so I'm not surprised that he found it. And I was just like, Belinda, all of this could have been avoided if you would have said no when Nathan said that he wanted to bring him to your house. Like, why would you even allow him to come into your house? Stupid. After this, we see Preston and we see Bryce, and they're in the office looking over the contracts, and they're both pretty much in agreement, like, you know what, everything looks good, but Preston says, you know what, I want to reach out to my lawyer to review it just to make sure everything is okay. And as far as like Preston, it's just weird to me that he just gave the $3 million like nothing, and then now he's trying to go like in the back end trying to make sure everything is good and everything is fine. Like, you should have made sure that the contracts and everything was good prior to you actually giving him the check, but that's just me. Bryce thanks him again for bailing him out. Preston corrects him and says, no, I did not bail you out. I invested in something that I believe is going to make a lot of money. And he goes on to say that he expects to make his money back plus interest. And then Zack comes into the office and he immediately kicks Bryce out like, look, I don't got time for it. I know that we are working towards something, but right now you are still on my shit list, so you need to go. And so Bryce, he's like, you know what? I'll leave. It won't be no problem, right? And so then Zack and Preston, they start to have a conversation. And this is when Zack tells him, like, Jeremiah actually attacked Fatima. And he's like, what? And so then he says, yeah, he attacked Fatima and then he actually shot at me. And Preston's like, what in the hell is going on? Zack goes on to say that he's thinking about powing his brother. And then Preston's like, hold on, brother, let's not do that. And so Zack is like, okay, maybe you're right. But then he's like, the part that's really bothering me about all of this is the fact that Fatima is actually mad at me. Like, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do as a man, as a protector. Like, I'm going after the person that attacked you. Why are you upset with me? And Preston's like, I don't really understand that either. Like, she should be appreciative. And he's like, exactly. And then next thing you know, Zack, he slams his hand on the table in anger. And so Preston's like, you know what? Clearly you are like really, really upset. So maybe we should go to the bar. You can get a couple of drinks. And then maybe that will help out. And I was just like, is that really the answer, Preston? I mean, he's going through something right now. He's already in a bad space. He really wants to put his hands on his brother who just shot at him. Do you really think him going to a bar, drinking, getting drunk is the best answer? I don't think so. Preston walks out of the office and he goes into the hallway and he's stopped by Bryce, who gives him Dr. Reed's card. And he's like, hey, I heard the conversation. Maybe you should get in contact with Dr. Reed, that's Zach's therapist, and tell him to meet you at the bar so that way that Zach can talk to a professional and try to get everything squared away. And Preston's like, you know what, I'll do that. And after this, we see Fatima and Angela. They actually pull up to Fatima's house, and there are cars everywhere. Fatima and Angela get out of the car and they realize that Deja's having a party. Fatima tells Angela to go into Deja's house and tell her to end the party or else. And y'all, this scene, it didn't do it for me. Like, I get that Fatima, she's upset, she's frustrated, she has been through a whole lot. But I do not feel like there was anything that Deja did that warranted everything that Fatima did in the scene. If this was Karen back in like earlier seasons of Sisters and she did this, I would completely understand. I'll be okay with it. But what did Deja really do? She was just having a party. Granted, she did block the driveway, but come on now. I don't feel like it was that deep. Like, she went into Deja's house uninvited. She's trying to regulate stuff, so of course she's gonna call her a bitch and try to get the fuck out of her house. And then next thing you know, Fatima, she starts breaking stuff similar to the way that Zach was breaking things at Belinda's house. And then she gets a bat and starts hitting people's cars. Like, that was just too much. That was way too much. Back with Preston and Zach, they are at the bar talking, and then next thing you know, Dr. Reed comes in. And Zach, he rolls his eyes because he's like, did you call him? And Preston's like, you know what, Bryce gave me his number, so I did reach out to him so that way that you could talk. And so Preston, he does excuse himself, and then Dr. Reed tells Zach to think about all of the things that he has been through, to think about all of the challenges that he has overcome, and then ask himself, is that something that he wants to throw away? And then he says, you know what, I'm going to be honest with you, Dr. Reed. I have been through a lot. I have accomplished a lot. I have grown a lot. But when it comes to this particular situation, I cannot let it go. I cannot let it go that this man, regardless if he's my brother or not, put his hands on Fatima, stole from her, and then tried to sell her stuff. Like, I cannot let that go, Dr. Reed. And I have to agree with them because it's not like they just had like a small back and forth, like a couple of words. Like I said, he put his hands on her. Like, he knocked her unconscious. She had a scar on her forehead. She could have potentially lost her baby. Like, this is not just a small situation. This is a big deal. Dr. Reed tells him, you know what? You need to approach the situation from the point of view of where you are trying to be in life, not the way that you would have in the past. And so Zach is like, you know what? I hear you. I'll think about it. He's not really going to think about it, though. Fatima and Angela are inside of Fatima's house, and all of a sudden, and this seems so out of place and out of nowhere, Fatima started going in on Angela for having men in and out of her house, and I was just like, huh? She tells her that you cannot sit here and talk shit about Zach when one, you don't know how to commit, and two, you don't have a fucking man. And I was just like, well, damn, Fatima, is that really how you feel? She tells Angela that she just needs to sit there and listen to her talk instead of trying to share her opinion on something that she clearly does not know anything about. And I was like, wow. And Angela was like, wow. And so, you know what? Angela's like, you know what? I'm just going to allow you to have your space. Clearly, you were going through a lot. And so she gets up and leaves. And I honestly do not blame her because what the fuck? Zach comes in just as Angela is leaving. He walks up to Fatima and he's like, you know what? I want to ask you a question. Like, what did you actually expect me to do once I found out that he pushed you, knocked you unconscious, put a bruise on your forehead, stole from you, and then tried to sell your items to the people that I'm friends with? Like, what exactly did you expect me to do? She attempts to lie and says he did not put his hands on me. And so he actually moves her hair out the way. I was like, oh, you didn't? It looks like he did. And she was like, that's besides the point. I was like, what do you mean that's besides the point? That's the whole point. That's the reason why all of this is happening, because he put his hands on you. Like, Fatima, what are you talking about? He tells her, look, I'm not going to let this shit go. Like, I'm not going to let it go what he did. And she's like, you know what? If you go out and do what you are planning to do, I'm not going to go visit you in jail. I'm not going to write you. I'm not going to accept any of your calls. And he's like, yeah, sure. And she's like, oh, so you don't believe me? He was like, I mean, do what you feel like you need to do. And so she grabs her stuff and she ends up leaving. And as she is leaving, Zach actually receives a call and then he rushes upstairs. And as far as the end of the episode, we see Nathan, we see Tony, we see Connie, and they're having a conversation about what happened because remember, Connie wasn't there, so they're basically getting her up to speed. And then next thing you know, we see Jeremiah walking by. And then next thing you know, we see Zach. He pulls up and he actually rushes towards his brother. And y'all, he beat the fuck out of his brother. Like, I don't really know what else to say. He beat the fuck out of him. I want to thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. My ultimate goal was to review all of the episodes in season 3. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get to all of the episodes before the new season starts tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is focus on tonight's episode of Sisters. And then I am going to review Zatima starting tomorrow, which is season 4. I believe that BET Plus is going to post the first 2 episodes. So I am going to review both of those once they do premiere. And also, I do want to let you all know I am going to review Beauty in Black, which is on Netflix, and I am going to review Reasonable Doubt, which is on Hulu. Thank you again for watching. You have a great rest of your day.